Good evening, and welcome to the Filmmaker Interviews for the 23rd Annual Garden State Film Festival. My name is Mike Cassidy, and I will be your host this evening, and I have the pleasure speaking with the folks behind 47, Laurel Harris and Lori Meyer. How's it going, guys?
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
For having us.
So if you could just let us know what your role was with the film, and then tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Lori and I came up with the story together a while back, and then I'll let her speak for herself. I went on to executive produce it, and star in it.
Star in it? No, I'm sorry. Wait, I didn't know you were the. Oh, that's so cool. I had no idea. I had no idea that was you.
That's awesome. I love that. You're amazing. Thank you.
Sorry, Laura. Lori, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Well, I wrote the story. And so after Laurel and I came up with the idea, I wrote it, and we went back and forth quite a bit with all of the writing. And then I kind of helped on the back end of producing. And yeah, so I'm really the writer and the biggest support of Laurel Harris ever.
It's mutual. Don't let her fool you. It's mutual.
Just tell us a little bit about the film, which is 47, which is, I don't want to say it yet.
I was going to say, we won't have any spoiler alerts.
Yeah,
just so the audience knows, Mike is the best interviewer ever. Just
right now.
Just
started. I could be awful. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. 47 is about a woman who is older in life, in her 40s, and she is a professional woman who has not had children, and she's questioning all of that at this point in her life and been told that you could have it all, that you could have everything in life. You could have a family and a home with a white picket fence and a lovely partner and all the children you wanted, and she doesn't get that. And so she's at this point where it's like, was I lied to, or is this really possible? I think that's what she's questioning. And for us, it comes down to, there's two different avenues that we've seen people pursue in this subject. That's not the right word, but either infertility or childlessness by choice. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to kind of leave that vague because there's people that experience what I just described in either one of those categories. So, yeah, Lori, do you want to say anything or add to that?
No, I think that's essentially what the story's about. And I think a lot of women deal with this, and it's a very quiet or silent thing that women go through. So I'm really happy that we were able to write this, and you just brought the character to life. So it's great.
Thanks, love.
I thought it was great. Yeah, and it was awesome to get those messages from that. What was the process like of writing and then starring in this film?
Well, as Lori said, we had a lot of different versions of this. It went round and round for years, actually. I'll back up by saying it all started, for me, what I remember is, we're laughing a painful laugh because it's like, it took a long time. Oh. I had gone to a regular OBGYN appointment, which I thought was going to be nondescript. And lo and behold, my doctor said, well, you know, you're not going to have children, right? And it was just this gut punch, this blow that I wasn't expecting. And I was so shaken by it that Lori and I were supposed to meet after that for our regular meetings that we would have about stuff that we were working on. And I said, I can't focus right now. I've got way too much going on in my head. And I told her what happened. And lo and behold, Lori was like, oh, I had a similar experience. Same thing happened to me.
Wow.
Like, how have we been friends for over a decade and I never knew this? And then I went back to some of my other friends and who I met with for something else. And I said, okay, so this just happened to me. And my girlfriend had this experience and I didn't know. And it was a table full of women my age. And they all raised their hand and were like, yeah, me too. So at that point, I was like, okay, we need to do a film on this because that's my medium. That's how I speak. That's how I get my messages out there. Mm-hmm. And that's where it began.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Yeah, and I had a similar experience with my doctor appointment. She just asked me, well, are you planning on having kids? And if you are, you need to freeze your eggs because yours aren't viable anymore. And, talk about again, a gut punch of, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's a gut punch, but it's this instantaneous loss and the processing time with that, and to find other women that have experienced something similar, and either they're advanced within that process of dealing with it, or they're just finding out as well, just finding that camaraderie and somebody that you can really process and ultimately grieve with, because it's difficult, even though I don't have children, obviously, but I forgot what I was going to say because somehow the lights just turned on here. I don't know what happened. Anyway, it's comforting, sadly, that there's so many of us going through this, but we do have a lot of common threads between us and can process and grieve, because it's something else.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, when I was talking about the group of women that I got together with for business stuff, one of them was South American, and she was like, "Oh, I have a totally different experience, but yet similar," because she was used to her culture taking on this subject matter in a very different way, whether it's based in more of a Catholic tradition or not. And other women in the group were like, "No, I don't have any religious association with this or shame about it, but if that makes sense, any sort of religious shame involved in it. But as a woman who wanted to pursue a professional path, I just put that on hold. I didn't have kids because I thought it would come later, and then it didn't. And so again, going back to that, what Lori and I came down to, where we want to explore infertility when it's traditional infertility, of course, but then childlessness by choice, women who maybe went forward in their career and then for whatever reason it was too late or couldn't have kids, and the stigmas around that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I was just, thinking about this stigmas that, the first question that I think women are asked is, do you have children? And, no, I have fur babies. And I love answering that I've got, fur babies, but it's, there's a different look when, oh, you don't. And so whether it's pity or, they get it or whatever, there's certainly that out there. It can be a daunting conversation, or when somebody asks you, like, oh gosh, okay, here we go. So
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We keep cutting you off.
Sorry, Mike.
We like to talk about this kind of stuff. But I was just going to say that was the biggest reason why we did this film too, was because we wanted to start conversations. Because after having all these talks with our friends, it was clear, like I said, that we weren't talking about this kind of stuff. It was kind of taboo. So that was the main goal with the film, was to start conversations so that people would walk away and hopefully want to have some sort of discussion with it with someone. And surprisingly, I've had more men come forward and say, yeah, my wife and I, or my girlfriend and I, couldn't have kids or didn't have kids, and it's really hard on me. Like, she gets the spotlight because she's a woman and she's going through this, and I get that, and that's well deserved. But at the same time, I'm suffering, and nobody's saying, "Hey, are you okay?" Right. So there's this whole other side of it where men maybe don't feel comfortable talking about it, or they're just not talking. So that's been interesting. I didn't expect that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't either. I don't want to cut anybody off again.
No, well, now I want you to go before we jump on talking again.
I wanted to say, first off, I'm very sorry that you guys had to get that gut punch.
Thank you.
I can't even imagine what it must be like to have to go through that. So I'm sorry about that. But
thank you.
I had a question too after that.
Did the light just go on?
Yeah. So what was the reason that you guys? I know what it is. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Did you guys find this working on this project healing in any way? Like getting to say some stuff that maybe you had deep down, or writing stuff that you had deep down that you didn't get to say, that you did get to say in this, and you feel hopefully a little better?
Laura, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think when I write, you know, obviously we talked, Laurel and I talked hours and hours about this stuff, but when I sat down and wrote, it's just kind of a stream of consciousness, or something out there is talking to me when I write, and I just, you know, type it out. And some of the things that when you watch the short that are in some of the later parts of the short, I was surprised at some of the things that came out, that but I was really glad about it. But yeah, I was surprised with it, but I really have a very solid trust in my process, and like this is just what needs to be said.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was really cathartic. And that's actually why I wanted to do the film too, because I felt like there was just this part of me that had to express this journey that I had been on. And in doing so, it was cathartic in so many ways, because I'm a pretty private person. When it, you know, my personal stuff I don't put out there. And for me to share essentially my story in so many ways and put it out to the world, I was terrified. I still get like, I'm getting choked up thinking about it now, thinking a whole nother group of people are going to see it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kept coming back to the artists that I love and respect the most are some of the ones that are the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because they know that it's not just about, you know, let me splay myself out there emotionally just for the sake of it. But if I can do this and it helps somebody, or if somebody else can relate to this, then it's a win. Yeah. So that's what I kept coming back to. It was like, I got to get out of my own way and put this out there so that maybe somebody else gets some healing from it. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and I think it sparked more. Sorry, Mike. I cut you off.
We should have warned you before we started working with you.
I can leave if you guys want, you know.
Just a second. One more thing, Mike. No, I think it also, you know, it was cathartic, but I think it's also been a launching pad for me to process a lot more of it that I didn't know I needed to process and to deal with. So, you know, and I don't know that it's ever something that will ever go away, because, you know, you always think about what if, or what could have been, or, you know, but you try to live with what you have and be grateful.
Of course.
Yeah, agreed.
So do you guys have any plans for the film after the festival?
Well, right now, our plan is to go through the end of the year with the festival circuit. So we've got some other opportunities we think might be coming up in the summer and fall. And then one of our producers on it is so excited about this project that he's really taking it and running with it in Los Angeles, which is great. So he's shopping it around there to see if we can get some traction towards either a feature or a series. So that's, we got all fingers and toes crossed, and God love him. So yeah, that's the fun stuff. So in the end, it would be kind of a proof of concept, which we never intended, honestly. When we first started, it was like, let's just do this because it's cathartic and we get the word out there and we, you know, help people. But yeah, if it has longer legs, we're all for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm all for a larger project with this, whether it's a feature or a series or limited series. I mean, I think it's a great subject matter, and the team we had working on this was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
Yeah, I think that if people watch your film, they can really heal, you know, in some way, hopefully. Unfortunately, we are coming to the end of our time together. Laurel, Lori, it was an awesome time listening to you guys and talking sometimes.
Thank you for getting a few words in edgewise.
I know. Yes. Thank you, Mike.
thank you for submitting to the Garden State Film Festival. All the information can be seen at the bottom of the screen. That's 47 being shown Saturday, March 29th, block TA12, 6 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. And my last question is, will you guys be joining us at the festival this year?
Yeah, we're both flying out, so we're excited.
Yeah, we are. This is actually my second time at Garden State. Last year, my brother and I won Best Screenplay and had a table read for The Dude is Legit. So I am absolutely over the moon excited to be coming out again and to be bringing Laurel and friends that are going to be there as well. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. Lori had raved about it and said, we got to put this on the list of festivals. And I was like, okay. And now I know why.
Garden State's pretty special.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again so much. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And I can't wait to meet you guys officially at the festival this year.
Thank you, Mike. We really appreciate it.
All right, have a good one, guys.
All right. Thanks, you too.